Good morning. Good morning. My name is Councillor George Farquhar. I'm presiding over this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee on the 3rd of June 2026. My first order of business is to ask for nominations for chair. May I seek nominations, please? Councillor Hilliard, thank you very much.
Yeah, I nominate Councillor Farquhar.
Happy to second that.
Thank you very much. Now we've got the appointment of the chair out of the way. Can I ask our clerk to actually read out some items of housekeeping, please?
Thank you, Chair. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Council for live broadcast and will be published on the Council website for a minimum of 6 months. The meeting may also be recorded or streamed for live or subsequent broadcast by members of the public, although ultimate discretion in this matter lies with the Chair in case of disruption. For those in the room, please note that if the fire alarm sounds, please exit the building by way of the nearest available signed fire exit route and make your way to the assembly point at the War Memorial in the gardens opposite the front of the building in Bourne Avenue. Finally, please ensure background noise is kept to a minimum and mobile phones and other devices are turned off or switched to silent for the duration of the meeting. For those in the room, this includes turning off microphones and turning the volume down completely on your laptops. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I also ask if there are apologies for this meeting, please?
No apologies.
Thank you very much. I'm Councillor George Farquhar and I'm the chair of this subcommittee and I have no declarations of interest. Councillor Hilliard, would you care to confirm that you have no declarations of interest?
No declarations on this matters.
Councillor Pankhurst.
No declarations.
I want to go through now the protocol of public speaking at hearings. The protocol for public speaking is actually in the, for the licensing committee is included in the agenda sheet. And I'm just having a quick look to see where my notes are. Bear with me. The procedure will be that the order of speaking is that the licensing officer will present their report. Questions of the licensing officer will be made by all parties. Members of the subcommittee will go first. The applicant will then make their application. There will then be questions of the applicant by all parties, members of the subcommittee to go first. Objectors will make their objections and their representations. However, there are none present today. Questions of the persons objected by all parties, members of the subcommittee will go first. Well, we'll deal with that when we come to it. All parties will be given the opportunity to sum up, with the party who spoke last to go first. The hearing will then conclude and the subcommittee will deliberate in private with a legal advisor and a clerk present. Notification of the subcommittee's decision will be given within a period of 5 working days, beginning of the day of the last day of the hearing, which is today. The notification of the decision will include information on the right of appeal as appropriate. Business for today. Item 5. This is an application for the Hengistbury Post Office, 106 Broadway in Southbourne. The subcommittee is asked to adjourn this meeting until the 23rd of June 2026 in accordance to the Regulations 12 of the Licensing Act 2003, Hearings Regulations 2005. Are all members in agreement?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. This application would now be postponed until the 23rd of June. Item 6, application for Muscliffe Park, Taste of the Caribbean Food and Drink Festival, Shillingstones Drive, Bournemouth, BH9 3LR. I'm going to ask each participant to introduce themselves and state their role at the hearing today. As I've spoken already, my name is Councillor George Farquhar and I'm chair and a member of the subcommittee.
I'm Councillor Paul Hilliard, Ward Councillor for Muddyford, Stampit and West Highcliffe, a member of the subcommittee.
Hello, I'm Councillor Emily Pankhurst. I am a ward councillor for Parkstone and also a member of the subcommittee today.
Andy McDermott, legal advisor to the committee.
Sarah Rogers, Principal Licensing Officer.
Christiane Tan, Democratic Services Officer, Clerk of the Committee.
May I ask who's coming up to speak on behalf of the applicant? Would you care to take a seat? And you'll see with the speaker there, what I'd appreciate is you always press the red button with the speaker microphone when you want to speak. Would you be kind enough to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Damien McLean, the event manager for Taste of the Caribbean.
Welcome, Mr. McLean. Can I just confirm that all people that wish to speak actually have made themselves known to the subcommittee hearing? I see no indications. Thank you very much. Before I run through the procedure, may I please check that all persons who have given their notice of intention to speak have done so. I will now ask all parties to confirm their agreement with the proposed procedure which I spoke about earlier. So we'll start with yourself, Mr. McLean.
Yes, that's fine.
Ms. Rosses?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, fine.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Excellent. Moving ahead. May I remind all parties speaking not to repeat the information which they have already given in writing, but to expand upon that written representations. All questions have come through myself as the chair, and there will be no cross-examination of any parties. I will now ask the licensing officer to present their report.
Thank you. S&A Entertainment have made an application to license the Taste of Caribbean Food and Drink Festival, which is proposed to be held annually, one weekend between May and September. The date for this year has been set for Saturday the 20th of June, and it is proposed to hold it on a consecutive Saturday and Sunday each year thereafter. The application seeks to permit live and recorded music and the sale of alcohol between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. on those days. Several events have been held at Musgrave Park over the years, including fun fairs, family days, summer and holy festivals. These have mainly been authorised under a temporary event notice for the areas providing the licensable activities. 7 representations have been received on the grounds that to grant the application would undermine all of the licensing objectives. Dealing with the concerns raised over public nuisance, environmental health mediated conditions with the applicant, which are attached to the licence if it was granted, and copies of the conditions agreed are attached at Appendix 5 of the report. No representations were received from any of the other responsible authorities. Should this application be granted and the applicants fail to operate in accordance with their licence and the conditions attached to it, they will be aware that any of the responsible authorities or any other person may request a review of the licence at any time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rogers. Any questions from the subcommittee of the officer?
Thank you. Yes. So just to confirm that I've read correctly, this application is for this year for 1 day, but subsequent years would be for 2 days. Is that correct? Do we know the reason for that?
I don't know the reason for that. Well, the applicant might be able to.
Thank you. And then my next question, you mentioned that there have been previous events at this particular location. I have concerns around things like parking and various other things as well. Can I, just to get an understanding of the capacity, so we know this application is for up to 4,999 individuals. Those previous events that were held, were they ever similar or less capacity level, do you know?
They were of a less capacity. I had confirmation from events today, actually. The events themselves, although falling out, the one event for, so the fun fair, for example, is 2,000 people maximum, or the estimated attendees, some have been 300, some have been 500, but they've applied for 10s because the area that's wanted the 10 has been compliant with the 499, but the overall event has been bigger than that.
Thank you. And can we confirm, was there any representation, was there any issues with those events that were previously held that BCP are aware of? Anything from the police or any other?
No, nothing has been reported.
Brilliant, thank you. I do have another question, but I'll pause there. I'll let you go, Paul.
Thank you. Ms. Rogers, similar about the previous event. So this is obviously planning ahead for the 20th of June, not that far away. So has this gone through the Safety Advisory Group and
Yes.
and the marshalling of...
And all previous events have also gone through the Safety Advisory Group.
Right. So the group are happy with the allocation of parking and the marshalling of parking?
Yeah, that's all been discussed and signed off.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor
Well,
Pankhurst, please.
Thank you. And my final question, so S&A Entertainment Limited, could you confirm if they have hosted events, held events within the BCP area before, and if there have been any concerns about any of those events?
I had checked the records and there are no other previous records of that as of them as an applicant.
They haven't, to the best of your knowledge, they haven't hosted an event within the BCP area before?
Not that's required a license. They may have, but
Yeah.
that hasn't come through us.
Perfect, thank you, thanks.
Councillor Hello.
Sorry, Mr. Rogers, just on that point, so we've obviously got a site map of the events. Where is the parking allocated, or where are people directed to park or use buses or trains? Thank you.
That would be included within the event management plan, and I'm sure that the applicant will be able to expand on that.
Just before we give the applicant an opportunity to ask any questions of the licensing officer, Mr. Rogers, I see on the operating schedule, part 3 on page 20, on my particular copy, which I believe is the one in the public domain, there appears to be a line missing in the box there, because it reads there will be keep a track of capacity and exit and entrance, and there is just the hint of a line below. Is there anything of interest to the subcommittee in that line below?
Page 20.
I'll
That's
check
page 20 in the box.
Yeah, I'll check the original application because it might have just not come out on this copy.
I'd appreciate that. My other question would, with the SAG, is there an element in there whereby highways have an opportunity to speak, or the appropriate highways authority?
Yes, they are. Traffic management and the police traffic contingency planning is also included.
Thank you very much. Just have one other question, just for my knowledge and understanding. I know that a personal alcohol license is something which is advantageous for anybody operating at events. Is it a condition of this license that each individual that is involved with the sale of alcohol will actually have a alcohol license?
If that's been offered, I'd have to review the operating schedule, but it doesn't have to be. It can be something that's offered.
Okay, I'll ask that of Mr. McLean. Thank you very much.
There will be obviously, because it's supplying alcohol, there will be a DPS who has a personal license.
Yes, not to get ahead of the actual hearing, but I believe there's a DPS for the whole event, and there are a number of bars.
Yeah.
But I understand. Thank you. Mr. McLean, do you have any questions of fact for our licensing officer?
No questions.
Thank you very much. No further questions from the panel? No questions from yourself, Mr. McDermott?
No.
Excellent. Okay, so Mr. McLean, would you be kind enough to present your application, please?
Okay. My name is Damien. I'm the event manager for Taste of the Caribbean Food and Drink Festival. Firstly, I would like to thank all local residents and members of the Bournemouth community who have taken the time to submit representations and share their thoughts regarding the proposed event and licence at Muscliffe Park. We genuinely appreciate residents taking the time to engage with the process. It demonstrates that people care deeply about their local community and surrounding environment, and we welcome the opportunity to provide additional information. As multiple representations have been received, this statement is not intended to respond to any individual objection specifically, but instead to address the main themes and concerns that have been raised repeatedly by local residents surrounding Muscliffe Park. Taste of the Caribbean Food and Drink Festival is a family-orientated community event that brings together food, culture, entertainment, and local communities in a positive and inclusive environment. The event attracts a broad demographic, with the majority of attendees being families and adults between approximately 35 and 70 years of age. The average age of an attendee is around 45 years old, making this a very different audience from those typically associated with late-night music events or youth-orientated festivals. The event has been successfully delivered across numerous locations in 20 different cities and towns over the last 6-year period. It has developed a reputation for creating a relaxed atmosphere where people can spend time with family, experience different cultures, enjoy food, entertainment, and participate in activities together. We work with 20 different councils, 20 different SAGs, and we tour this event for 4 months each summer, moving to different cities every single week. So we are very experienced in delivering this event. Many attendees spend a day casually moving around the site, enjoying food and entertainment, while children take part in the free activities such as circus skills, storytelling, and families spend quality time together. Common concerns raised by residents: noise and amplified music. A number of residents have raised concerns regarding music levels and the impact of amplified sound within a quiet residential area. We fully understand these concerns and appreciate that Muscliffe Park sits within an established family residential community. We would like to reassure residents that this is not a large-scale music festival focused on headline performers or late-night entertainment. Music forms part of the atmosphere of the event rather than being the primary attraction. We don't have any headline performers that people will be coming from far and wide to see. We only have tribute bands such as a Bob Marley and a Motown tribute act, just to, give a sense of nostalgia and provide background music. A detailed noise management plan will be implemented and monitored throughout the event to make sure we stay within the permitted sound levels as approved by the council, including regular sound monitoring at agreed locations surrounding the site, additional monitoring points where appropriate, monitoring undertaken by experienced personnel, immediate mitigation procedures should any issues arise, full documentation of complaints and action taken. Residents will also be provided with a direct resident contact number should any noise concerns arise. This will be done by a letterbox drop to all of the surrounding roads. Our team will attend the location, undertake sound monitoring, and make any necessary adjustments where required to ensure compliance with agreed limits. Traffic, parking, and emergency access. Concerns have been raised regarding parking pressures, traffic congestion, and access for emergency vehicles. The event is designed around staggered arrival and departure patterns rather than all attendees arriving and leaving at the same time. We actively advertise across our website, ticketing platforms, and social media channels that there is no public event parking available, and attendees are encouraged to use public transport, taxis, and other alternative methods of travel. This messaging is also reinforced through direct email communications issued to all ticket holders before the event. Emergency access routes will form part of the event management plan and will be maintained at all times to ensure emergency services can access both the event site and surrounding residential areas if required. Alcohol, public safety, and antisocial behaviour. A significant number of representations have expressed concerns around alcohol consumption and the possibility of antisocial behaviour. We fully understand that concerns around alcohol can naturally create worries for local residents, particularly within a family residential area. However, it is important to clarify that this is not an event based around alcohol consumption. The focus of the event is food, culture, family entertainment, and community engagement. Alcohol will be available as part of the event offering. However, its sale and management will operate under strict licensing controls and conditions. Measures to include Challenge 25 age verification procedures, trained alcohol vendors, professional SIA security staff, CCTV coverage, search procedures where appropriate, welfare and medical provision, robust incident management procedures. All bars will have a personal license holder. Underage alcohol sales will not be tolerated at all. Alcohol bars will be required to comply fully with licensing requirements. We will work closely with police and all relevant local authority departments via the SAG to ensure all licensing objectives are met and appropriate controls are implemented. Environment, wildlife, and park protection. A number of residents have raised concerns regarding the impact of the local environment, wildlife, and the character of Muscliffe Park itself. We fully recognise that Muscliffe Park is a valued community space and an important part of the local environment. Protecting the park and minimising impact is extremely important to us. Measures are to include dedicated cleaning teams operating throughout the event, continuous litter picking during operational hours, full post-event site cleaning, waste management procedures, site reinstatement procedures following the event. Not only will we make sure that the park itself is clean, but we will also make sure that any surrounding roads or areas are clean of any waste that could have been created from the event itself. The event itself is a temporary, and our objective is always to leave the park in a clean and satisfactory condition following the event. Future events and community concerns. Some residents have expressed concerns that approval of this event may result in increasing numbers of events in future years. This application relates specifically to the event under consideration, and any future events would be subject to separate processes, assessments, and permissions where required. Community benefits. Events such as Taste of the Caribbean aim to create positive opportunities for local communities by bringing people together from different backgrounds in an inclusive and welcoming environment. The event offers family entertainment, cultural experiences, free children activities and entry, and opportunities for local businesses and traders, while also generating revenue for the council through site hire that can be utilised within the local community. Our aim is to create an event that residents can feel proud to have within their area. In closing, prior to the event, communications will be distributed to residents surrounding the site containing event information, key timings, and a direct contact number should any issues arise during the event itself. We hope this statement provides additional reassurance and clarity regarding the concerns raised by residents and the measures being implemented to address them. We remain committed to working collaboratively with Bournemouth Council, local stakeholders, and the community surrounding Muscliffe Park to ensure that any event delivered is safe, responsible, and enjoyable for all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. McLean, and thank you very much for identifying the 7 representations and objection in your presentation there. That's very much appreciated, and it's helpful to the public and also to the sub-hearing committee to understand your engagement with the surrounding community. I'm sure there'll be some questions around that shortly. Just before we do so, I've got one question of the licensing officer, which will actually help my understanding, if you'll be so kind, before we ask the subcommittee to ask questions. Mr. Rogers, did we get that bottom line that was squared away? Not a problem. One of the things which I was interested in, and let me just go back to page 26 so I refer you to it. I will read it out there for the nature of the essentially what it is yes, here it is. It's my apologies, is on page 27. There's a line that the document, and this is relating to the event safety management document, and the document shall be submitted to the licensing authority, police and SAG at least 3 calendar months prior to the event. Can you confirm that that has actually been done?
Yes, the event's gone. Yeah, the event has gone through the SAG already, so this is the final piece of the jigsaw to license it.
Yes. And so the event safety management document, which is in the public domain, as in these documents, is the final document.
I believe so.
Thank you very much. Subcommittee, any questions for Mr. McLean?
Thank you. Thank you so much as well. That was a really comprehensive presentation of the plans you have. If I can start with one of the licensing objectives, which is the protection of children from harm, could you give me, you've said already that the age range of the event is intended to sort of be your 30s to your 70s, so older adults, it's a family event, young children. Could you give me a bit of an understanding as to what the ticket prices are that you'll be selling at? You mentioned that children under 16 are free, or children are free?
Children under 14.
Brilliant. So there was that one, yeah, and just the if I could understand a bit more about the pricing of the event, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Tickets for the event started at £7.50. They've now moved up as we get closer to the event to £15, and children under 14 are free entry with a paying adult.
Thank you. Can you confirm what age do you consider an adult? Would it be 18? You wouldn't let anyone under 18 come in without an adult?
Yes, so it'll be over 18 as in paying adult, yes.
Thank you. Can I also ask another question about the provision of water?
Yes.
So if we think back to the weather we had recently, it's incredibly hot. The consumption of, I'm really Shall I carry on?
Sarah's.
Oh. Thank you. Just thinking about the consumption of alcohol without access to free water. If you could help me understand a little bit more about, I did read in the documents there is access to free drinking water, but if, I've been to many events before where, for example, water's taken off of you or bottles are taken off of you as you come in. I'm hoping, and it would be great to have the assurance from you that people could still, if that is the case, or could they bring in water, or can they bring in containers so that they can access that free water when they're there? Because again, thinking about the consumption of alcohol without the dilution is a concern.
Customers are allowed to bring in sealed bottles of water. They get an email the week of the event just reminding them of that and letting them know they can bring in sealed bottles of water. We also have a water station on the site where they can get free water all day long, and they're made aware of that, and it's right next to the entrance. It's signposted that they can get water from that point all day long.
Thank you. And just my final question for now. I'm assuming there are searches in operation when people enter the site. If you could give us a bit of an understanding as to how thorough those searches are, because I know one of the concerns from what the residents was that concealed articles could be brought in, and obviously that's a concern if alcohol can be brought into the site.
We do search on entry. It's only bag searches, so we don't do full body searches, but bags, prams, etc. are searched.
Hello, Mr. McLean. Just on, you mentioned about the staggered timings. How do you influence that?
We don't necessarily influence it, but because of the nature of the event, because it's not a music festival, there's no rush for anyone to get there at any specific time. You're not getting there to get to the front of the stage. You're not getting there to see any particular act. So because of the nature of the event, people arrive and leave at different times. Some people come first thing in the morning with the kids. So if it's a group of friends coming, they might come a bit later in the afternoon. Some people only come for an hour. Some people come and spend the whole day. So that's what kind of makes it staggered. It's just the nature of the event itself. It's just not a music festival where you come all day long and you've got a schedule of the different acts you want to see.
Thanks for that. And can people come and go out of the event?
No, you can only get your ticket scanned once. Once you leave, there's no re-entry.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And just on the point about parking, so it's gone through the safety advisory group. So there's no parking restrictions on the roads around the park.
No, there's no parking restrictions. No.
You're obviously saying to people there is no parking.
Yeah, we tell people that there's no parking in the surrounding areas, and we advise them to take public transport or walk to the event.
Okay. And what did the safety advisory group, working with you, how did they think people would, the nearest they would park to near the park?
I'm not 100% sure. In the SAG meeting, we told them what we proposed. So just to give you some background, when we contacted the council and said, we want to bring this event to Bournemouth. This is the amount of people. Can you tell us the locations that you believe are suitable to hold an event of this size? This is one of the parks that they gave us. So one of the places that we went and viewed a few different parks. And then we said, okay, cool, we like this one. We're happy to move forward with this one. We let them know that what we do at all our sites in terms of there's no parking available. We advise people to take public transport, etc. They were happy with that and said to us that they believe this site can facilitate this. So that's kind of how that went.
Okay, and just the final one on the parking. So I was looking down your list of other festivals this year. You've obviously just been to Basingstoke, Bakerloo Hill. So, but I looked at a couple in Southend where it does look as though the railway station is near to the parks, and
some are like nearer the town centre than others.
Is this one of the furthest away from the town centre, you would say?
I think so, yes.
Right. Okay, but you've had no.
We do have a few that are quite far. So Guildford and a few others are quite far from the town centre. But like I said, because of the staggered arrival and leaving, we've never really had any problems with parking or any road congestion.
Okay, thank you. That's it for now.
Thank you, Mr. McLean, and thank you very much. You obviously present as very experienced in this particular type of event. So can you just confirm that this will be the first time that it's coming to Bournemouth?
This will be the first time it's coming to Bournemouth, yes. And we haven't done any other events in Bournemouth. It's literally as the event is growing, and we get so much emails from people in different cities wanting us to bring it there. We're always looking for different places to grow the tour, basically.
Excellent. And what will your role be on the day?
I'm the event manager, so I'm overall responsible for the whole event.
So you'll be there for it, the setup and through to the Sunday with
Yes,
the pattern as well. So who's the DPS and why are they not here today?
DPS is Marlene Bernard. She's just not here because she wasn't required. I do all the hearings just because I can answer all the questions of all the different departments, really.
Okay, so I'll ask you some questions if you don't mind as regards what the DPS would normally answer up for me. Let's have a little look. Right, on page 26, refusal of sales. There'll be full. It says words to the effect that there'll be full training of the Licensing Act for people who are selling alcohol. This comes back to my question as regards personal licenses. And can you run me through what the nature of that training will be, please?
Okay, so the majority of the people who work on the bars work throughout the tour. So training takes place before the actual tour starts. We do a session, with all the staff that we're going to be using. They also get sent literature in advance of each event to go through to do some stuff online also. And then in the morning of the events, all of the staff get another full briefing and training before they start on the actual event day. All of our bars have a license holder on each of the alcohol serving bars also.
Excellent. So just to clarify, then the individuals which are involved with the licensed activities, e.g. the sale of alcohol, they actually come on tour with you?
Yes.
And how big's the tour this year? How many events?
It's 4 months, 20 events in total.
So how long have you been an event manager for this activity?
We're in our 6th year of Taste of the Caribbean now.
What's the most difficult situation which you've had to deal with as an event manager?
The most difficult situation, I would say missing children. That's the one that causes me the most stress, and I get the most panicked about.
And do you want to just run us through your prevention methods? I know that they're actually in the documents just now, but I just want to make sure that the public and those that have written for concerns that they've got is that they hear you in this hearing because this is broadcast. So thank you very much.
In terms of the missing children, yeah. So if we get a report of a missing child, all exits and entrances are closed, so we don't let any access in or any access out. We get a description of the child, which is given to all staff members, all security, etc. Announcements are made via the PA system, and if we can't locate the child within a 10-minute period, that's when we contact the police for further advice.
May I ask then the individuals which are actually on the exits and entrances, and I see that in the plan they're actually literally side by side. Yeah. Do those individuals, that security team, do they come on tour with you, or are you recruiting locally? No, so we use all our service providers are the same on the tour. So security is exact same at all sites, medical is the exact same, event control and CCTV is all the exact same throughout the whole tour, and they've been working with us for a number of years. Thank you. That sounds very comprehensive for the prevention of harm to children. And I'm sure that the viewing public will be glad to hear that. Can I ask, actually, in your plan on, let's have a look, page 36, where it says staff training, it mentions at a bullet point, all individuals wearing an under 18 wristband will be refused alcohol at the bar. Staff will demand proof of age if they suspect that a customer is less than 12 years of age. Is this a wristband event? It's not a wristband event directly, but what we do is on entry, we give all children a wristband and write the parent's number on the wristband. So if the child goes missing, we've got a number to contact the parent. And as Councillor Pankhurst asked, what's your view of the children, of a child?
A child would be under the age of 16.
So essentially, anybody below the age of 16 will be wearing a wristband on a
Yes,
day.
we have the wristband, yeah.
Thank you. More questions from the subcommittee? We shaking anything out? Councillor Pankhurst?
Thank you. That was really good hearing the answers to those questions as well. Could you give us a bit of an understanding as to what your expectations of numbers could be on the event? So I'm assuming tickets have already gone on
Yeah,
sale for
tickets
this
have been
event.
on sale. It's always hard to tell in the first year in a new location. Some of it is very weather dependent as well. At the moment, with where tickets are, I would expect probably to end around the 2,000 region for year one.
Thank you. And then just the question that I asked Ms. Rogers. So this application is for this year for one day, the Saturday, but then subsequent years, would that be a rolling? I would sort of need a bit of help understanding how today the decision we make would impact on future years, but the expectation being that it'd be 2
So
days.
we've applied for like a rolling contract, so a rolling license that will cover us every year. We're allowed to hold the event on only one weekend between May and September, with the dates to be confirmed with the council. With all of our licenses, we always apply for 2 days, just so that we have room for growth and room for change. Sometimes, I guess, if the demand was starting to get too much, then we'd increase to 2 days, so that we split the amount of people that are coming to the site at any one time. But because all of our events are held in council parks, we can't ever go to 2 days without the permission of the council. So it's always still down to us speaking to the SAG, deciding, do we want to move this to 2 days? Is it better to stay as a 1 day? So it literally, we hold the same type of license at all of our 20 sites. This year, there's only 2 locations that have moved to 2 days, even though we've got that license at all of the sites, and the majority of them we're on our 4th or 5th year at those locations. So it's not something that is definitely going to happen. It's more just, if we ever want that maneuverability, or if the council ever want that maneuverability, we've got that there.
Councillor Hilliard?
Thanks. Just a couple. So can people buy tickets on the gate?
They can, dependent on how many tickets have sold in advance of this event. They definitely will be able to, because we'll have so much extra capacity space to do that. To be fair, we don't really get much sales on the gate. It's only really if people are walking through the park and didn't know about it want to come in. Those are kind of the only really sales. We don't really. Most tickets are done in advance.
Okay. And how? What are the drinks dispensed in? I saw in the pictures there's cans, and there's obviously palm tree, plastic.
Okay, so it's they're only dispensed into cups. We do give cans, but they're opened before they're given to the customer, and we don't no bottles at all.
Right. And on dispersal, what are your plans? Do you remove drinks?
Yes, so no drinks are allowed to leave the site, and no open food containers as well.
And the security, reminding people that it's a residential area type messaging.
Yes, definitely.
Things like that. And just on the conditions for the noise.
Yeah.
So do those decibel 63 hertz, 65 decibel, is that within, you've agreed that's
we've agreed.
well within your...
Yes, we've agreed those, yes.
Right, okay. And none of those issues for you as a business?
No, we don't.
Do you know what sound you go to without conditions?
To be fair, the conditions that it's the same at all the sites, and it's more than adequate for the type of entertainment that we provide. Granted, on any given day, weather conditions can change how far music travels, so we do have to be monitoring, continuously, and sometimes you do have to make adjustments throughout the day, like if the wind picks up, and sometimes we do have to do monitoring reports at residents' homes and have to make adjustments. So I'd be lying to say we set it at this and it will be perfect for the whole day. No, it's a constant monitoring throughout the day, and with this event, it's such a family-focused event that anywhere we go to, we don't want to be there for 1 year. We want to be there for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So it's always within our best interest to keep the local residents happy, to keep the SAG happy. So, you know, we're always going to make sure that we stay within those limits and adjust it where necessary.
And the speaker system, is it all around? Because obviously you've got the stage.
No, it's only really on the stage area.
Okay. So
literally,
the children's area is a little bit quiet.
Yeah, so the children's area is quieter. We also have cooking demonstrations. That's quieter. So there's other things going on around the site that we need, you know, it to be a lot quieter as well.
Okay, that's it for me.
Excellent. Mr. McLean, would you take some questions from our legal advisor, Mr. McDermott, please?
Yes, that's fine.
Hello. Couple of questions. So paragraph 6 of your alcohol management plan talks about your refusal records.
Yes.
Being readily available for inspection by police and other authorised officers. But that's not actually offered as a condition within your licensing application itself.
I can't remember. It's probably not a condition. It would have only been a condition if if any of the responsible authorities would have asked for it to be a condition, then we would have agreed to it. But it's in our plan as something that we do and offer. And I guess I'm not sure how the plans tie to the license in terms of, you know, if it's in our plan and this is the plan that we submitted, then I'm sure that kind of ties into the license some way that we have to adhere to it.
Right. Okay. And neither the plan nor neither your sort of action plan nor section M of the application deals with retention periods for those refusal logs.
Okay.
How long would you normally retain refusal logs as a general rule?
Something that we kind of retain. We don't really get rid of them. We kind of, you know, we just keep the log. They'll be on our records for each year, so there's something that will always be accessible.
So if this application were granted today, and obviously that's a question for the committee, would you be open to offering conditions relating to the retention of those?
Yes, of course.
Those records and basically involuntary inspection by police and everything.
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you. Also, you talk about your sound monitoring. Does that just relate to the sound mixers that's mentioned in the agreed conditions with environmental health, or is that broader than that?
The sound monitoring takes place at the park boundaries, and it would be 2 meters from the facade of any homes if required, if we get a noise report. So that's where we take the majority of the readings.
But are you just monitoring like the sound of music?
Yeah, it's mainly just the sound of music. That's the only thing that would really be that loud or travel that far.
Thank you. That's all the questions I've got.
Councillor Pankhurst.
Thank you so much. The questions have inspired another question from me, if that's okay. And it's to do with dispersal and the end of the event. So sort of 2 things there. Number 1, I know that the licence application is to serve alcohol until 8 p.m, if I'm correct. It would be good to understand what your anticipated projection of the end time of the event being, because that's the end of serving alcohol, but it will take time for people to leave the premises. So I'm just trying to think about what that would look like for neighbouring properties. You also mentioned earlier about management of the surrounding area, and I'm thinking about the litter. I'm thinking about, even though there are things in place to try and stop people dropping litter on their way out, inevitably that sort of thing's going to happen. And I know from myself, I'm a councillor for Ashley Cross area. We have a lot of issues with littering around the surrounding streets and the impact then that has on the residents. So if there's any assurance you can give to the neighbouring properties that, number 1, a bit of an understanding as to the timings of when we think this event will be completely over, and also sort of the assurance that the streets will be left as they were found, if
Yeah.
you like. Thank you.
So the actual event finishes at 8, so we don't go on that late. So it finishes at 8 o'clock. Like I said, our waste management team, they do walk the surrounding roads just to see if there's any event rubbish, and the residents they've got a line that they can also call us if they have any concerns or they see anything, and the team would be deployed to that location. But a lot of the concerns that people have, and we understand why they have the concerns, but they're just not really relevant to this event, and it's only once the event takes place that people understand. We've in the 6 years we've been running this event, we've never had a call from a resident about rubbish, because there's nothing to really leave the event site. People come, they spend the day, they eat their food there. No drink containers are allowed off the site, so there's nothing that they're really actually leaving within their hands to create any rubbish elsewhere. We don't have a mass exodus of people. Like to be fair, by 7 o'clock, there's probably about 200-300 people left on the site. By that time, traders are starting to pack down. Our bars are starting to pack down. So we don't ever have a mass exodus of people at any one time. So, like I said, we definitely do look and make sure, but these are just not really concerns that affect an event of this nature.
That's a really reassuring response. Thank you.
Mr. McLean, I have a question related to the conditions put upon the event by environmental health being agreed. This relates to, and I'll read it out here. The event organisers shall ensure that residents that are likely to be affected by the noise from the event are informed of the details of the event, including times of performances and likely disturbance, and shall provide a contact telephone number for complaints to be made at least 14 days prior to the event. This dedicated phone line must be manned throughout the event. Today being the 3rd and the event being on the 20th, has that letter gone out yet?
So the letter has gone out. So we do this in two rounds. So it went out. I think there was a letter that went out a month or so ago, and then there's another one scheduled to go out over the next couple of days, if I do believe.
Okay. Just to be pedantic on it, just looking at the information which is available to the public and actually the documentations, I see a copy of the letter here, what seems to be the first letter. There is no telephone number on that. So how will you comply with the condition by the environmental health that the letter will be with the residents with that direct contact number 14 days before the event?
I'm not sure what the letter that we that went out and the one that we sent over to the council definitely had a number on it, so I'm not sure.
Can you help, sir, Ms. Rogers?
Is the letter you're referring to the one that was written in response to the original representations? Which wouldn't...
It's on page 56 and says, dear local resident. And it gives an introduction.
Yeah, that's the letter that was written in response to representations that had been made. So that's a different letter to one that would be sent out.
That's a different letter.
So the one...
Do we have the contact?
I haven't got a copy of that one.
That has been submitted to the council along with all of the other documents. It was one of the things that the SAG requested in the meeting, and so I have to send that over to them.
To the environmental health officer?
It would have gone over to the events team who have been coordinating all of the documents.
Yeah, they keep the documents centrally. I can I've got access to the SAG.
Very much appreciate that. I'll ask another question while that's going on, but thank you very much, Ms. Rogers. I appreciate that simply because it is a condition which is expected from environmental health for this event to go ahead. So my other question relates to the letter itself, is that obviously it will have a contact number on site. So at other events, off the top of your head, if you're keeping a running score, how many of these events have you actually personally been the event manager at?
Well, every single one over a 6-year period. So we're talking about minimum of 50 events, really.
50 events.
6 years, yeah.
Splendid. So at those 50 events, when have you received a noise complaint, say, from a resident, and what actions have actually been taken by your events team that comes on tour with you, please?
They're very minimal. We don't really get many when they do happen. You know, we log it. We ask them if it'll be okay to visit the property to take a noise reading. The person who does the noise readings will go to the property. You know, take a reading, log it, speak to the resident. If it's not compliant, they'll then phone to the production team, asking them to turn the levels down until such time as it is compliant. If it is already compliant, they'll explain that to the resident, and it's kind of put them at ease. And then we log all of that information and then send it over to the council post event.
Excellent. So you say that it's fairly minor. How many complaints would you say on out of those 50? How many complaints would each one sort of attract?
To be fair, over a season, we might get five for the whole season. So last year we had 18 events. I doubt we got more than 5. The only time we get more, so there was one year, probably about 3 years ago, in Wimbledon, where we got quite a lot, but that was like a plan by the residents to all come together and make complaints. And the thing that kind of really benefited us that year was that we started late. We were running late, so the event started late. So the first complaint came in before the music had actually switched on. And when the complaint came in, I was standing, it came across on my radio, and I was standing with police licensing at the time when the complaint came in. So they were aware that these were, fraudulent claims. So that's the only time where, some streets have their WhatsApp groups, and they all decide, all right, we're all going to complain for this event. We're tired of all these events taking place in the park. That's the only time where we've got a lot of complaints. Other than that, we don't get any, hardly.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. McLean. I appreciate Councillor Pankhurst's question about litter, because litter is obviously a concern that's mentioned several times in the complaints or the representations that we've received an objection. So have you, as an organisation and as an event manager, have you received any complaints from any of the local authorities after the event site has been cleared?
We've never received any complaints for the simple reason that we don't hand back the key for the site until it is checked by the local and they're happy with it. So literally we would meet whoever's the person who usually gives us the key. When we're giving back the key, we'd usually meet them on site. They're happy with everything, and then we sign back the site over. So we don't sign back over the site or hand it back until everyone is perfectly happy that it has been restored to its original condition.
Thank you very much, and your experience shows again, Mr. McLean. Ms. Rogers.
Yes, so the fact that the letter referred to isn't included in here doesn't mean to say that it hasn't been received by our events team. I've just in communication with the environmental health while we're in the meeting, and she's confirmed that it's not a sticking point, the 14 days. It's more that notification is given to the residents prior to the event with a phone number of a responsible person managing the event when it's taking place. The 14 days can't be achieved now, but for events going forward, we would expect it to be that. As long as all the residents are notified prior to the event, we will be satisfied.
Excellent. So help me out with the understanding of the nearby residents. How many letters actually went out, and what number of streets?
I wouldn't know the exact number of letters that went out, but we literally draw a map on all of the roads that we think would be affected. So all of the surrounding roads, all of the roads off of that. So you're talking about, it's probably all of the roads in like a quarter-mile radius of the site almost were covered.
Excellent. That brings me on to the other concern, which is because there's been a number of concerns about the parking facilities, and I appreciate the nature of your communications, the natures of your ticket sales, and the promotion of active travel or using public transport to get there. there was mention in the hearing of the, or in fact of the, in the residents' objection letters, of the small car park that is actually directly adjacent to to the community centre there. Who do you anticipate will be using that car park? Will that be your events team, or would it be the members of the public?
This would be, we still need to have a discussion about that car park with the events team at the council. It would be my suggestion to close that car park, because that would, you know, ease any congestion going in and out of the car park and just keep a constant flow on the road. So that would be my suggestion, but obviously we're not allowed to do that unless we get permission from the council and the parks team that we can close that car park, because it is tiny.
Ms. Rogers, would you be able to confirm that that discussion's going on as regards the nature of that car park? Will it be closed? The reason I ask is I've attended an event myself at this location, and that car park has been difficult, shall we say, to get in and out because people have to reverse up. It's quite a narrow car park. Can you confirm if the events team are considering the closing of that car park?
I can't confirm that, but I can confirm it hasn't been brought up within the minutes of the meeting that was held with the event organiser, so it wasn't brought up as an issue of concern by car park.
It has or hasn't been brought
It
up?
hasn't, because it hasn't been, all of the SAG attendees get sent the paperwork prior to the meeting, because we hold monthly meetings to deal with all events coming up. And generally at that meeting, the event organiser will come and give an overview of the event. And then anybody who has concerns, albeit ourselves, police, ambulance, traffic, they would bring those concerns to that event to directly discuss with the event organiser. From the minutes of that meeting, that was not a cause of concern. So that's something that wasn't brought up. So they must have, the car park issue must have been to the satisfaction of whoever is responsible for that.
So, Mr. McLean, to my mind, there's a question mark as regards the event team, you know, the on-tour team. There must be a fair number of vehicles for, you know, cooking equipment, the stage equipment, the kiosks, the pop-up gazebos,
Yeah.
and, you know, the children's activities.
Yeah.
So where do you anticipate that these vehicles to transport that equipment are going to be parking?
So our large trucks, they go behind the stage, so they're within the compound of the Harris fencing in the backstage area, and they go back up behind the stage, and that's what kind of carries everything.
So just to confirm on the plan that the green area, which is shown on page 50, then all vehicles with equipment to make the event happen are parked up behind the main stage. Is that correct?
Yes.
What's the largest vehicles that you have?
I'm not sure the actual size, but we do have the trucks that you need the upgraded license to, the HTV license to drive.
Anything further to add, Ms. Rogers? Okay, I'm sure that'll come up in our debate, but I would press the council to ensure that that's understood. That's where the plan is for the event vehicles to be parking up for the duration of the event. Any further questions from the panel? Any further questions from our legal advisor? No. Any questions from the licensing officer? Right, since we don't have any objectors here, and I think you've covered all the questions which I had. Well, there's just one, which I'll come back to. It's because a fair number of the complaints mentioned parking across driveways, that concern, which is a reasonable concern. If the second letter has not gone out, would it be possible to add the local authority's parking authority number there so that they could contact directly the individuals which could enforce people that are parking across driveways, etc.?
Yes, we could definitely do that. That sounds like a very good idea.
Is that something which we could take care of from licensing?
Yeah, we can direct them to the reporting it via the website, whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Well, the number's well known to my residents because I always point them to the right towards it. So if you want to take a note of this, it's 01202
So I can start again, please.
01202
Yeah.
123
Yeah.
911.
Okay, thank you.
Bit of an American slant there. But it is one of those. It's a self-service, so that a resident who has a driveway blocked can actually get in touch directly with our parking authorities rather than going through. They might not be web enabled, and you might want to put some wording in your letter, just a paragraph or say that they can contact directly in the event of there be excessive parking.
Okay.
And I'm sure licensing will take that into effect. Right. So you've now got the opportunity, because there are no objectors here, to sum up for anything which you might not yet have mentioned. Now's the time, Mr. McLean.
I think we've mentioned everything. Like I said, we understand the concerns, you know, that local residents have with this event, especially the first time, and it's not actually until it actually takes place and the residents actually come down, because with the residents letter that we drop through the letterboxes, we also give them free tickets to attend the event, to come and, you know, celebrate with us and actually enjoy the day with their families. And once they actually come to the event, all of the concerns seem to kind of like go away, because it's a very nice family oriented event, and that's why we've been able to grow so quickly, and so many different cities around the UK really welcome us, and we're always able to return back. You know, the council's always happy to have us for our third year, fourth year, fifth year. You know, we've already held 3 so far this year, and we already have our dates for the following year, because, you know, just the nature of the event. So I just hope that the committee take everything I've said on board and that we can proceed, really.
Ms. Rogers, any summing up from yourself? Right. With that, then I'll sum up I'll conclude the hearing in itself. Just a word of thanks from the subcommittee in the hearing today is that you've been very forthright and very knowledgeable in your answers to all our questions. The nature of these subcommittee hearings is to satisfy ourselves as a licensing authority that the licensing objectives will not be undermined. I'll now conclude the hearing. At the end of this meeting of the subcommittee, we will adjourn in private with the legal advisor and the clerk to deliberate. The decision will be conveyed to you in writing as explained earlier. I now ask the legal advisor just to outline the right of any appeal.
So there's a right of appeal against any decision made today, and it's exercisable within 21 days, and that starts from the time when you receive the decision in writing.
And with that, I'll conclude the meeting, and thank you everybody that's attended, and we'll close the meeting. Thank you.